What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neg Entropy Chronicles. I got my special guest in the building. It is London, and we are back. We actually did a video recently talking about was Shahrazad Ali right? But after we finished the video, she was like, "Hey, yo, there was more I wanted to talk about, and it was more pertaining to the verbiage of taming a woman." So, London, my question for you is, does a woman need to be tamed?
The answer to that for me would be no.
All right, go
I
ahead.
think anybody, I'm gonna just stick on the woman aspect since that's what it was. I don't think any woman should be tamed. If anything, she should already be in her femininity. She should already be in that wholesome, peaceful place, which comes with your self work. You're healing your traumas from, if you want to say, childhood to adolescence to teenage years, whatever you've been through in life. You should treat that first before you get into a relationship, because normally relationships are reflections of what you actually been through that you have not resolved yet.
Okay.
Most women would say that, they run into the same person, but different in different men. It's a lesson behind that. So, in the aspect of the taming part, when you look at it, it's like, okay, so what does it mean to tame somebody? I mean, I look at it as, circus. Like trying to tame lions, like they try to make an animal obedient. We are not animals in that nature of, in that sense of, you need to put your hands, on us. I know things could come arise where you have no other choice but to defend yourself, but in
Mhm.
the fact of maintaining a relationship, you're breaking a trust barrier. You're making that person feel unsafe, even though, as they would say, you gotta be able to handle me, my attitude, my mouth, and everything that comes with me. And that all comes from trauma. Why you're acting that way, that all comes from trauma that you have not healed. So in that factor, that man is not your parent. See, if you go to your parent and you start yapping off at the mouth, either you gonna get popped, slapped, one or two. So you want your man to be your dad?
All right. So it's interesting that you said going to your parent if you go to speak to him a certain way. I think because I've said this before, I don't want you to have fear of, I want you to have respect for. So to me, when you go to your parents, you have respect for them. So you're not going to say things, you're not going to do things because you have respect for those people based on the ideology of what you were growing up under, which is, you always respect your parents, things like that. So when you go to a person that you're actually in a relationship with, you do not want to have a fear of the person that you're with. You want to have respect for them. So there's no reason why you would go the extra mile. So I looked this up because you said tamed. So so tame is a verb, but past tense tamed, but it says domesticate an animal, right? Wild rabbits can be kept in captivity and eventually tamed. Domesticate, break, or train. Make less powerful and easier to control. What are your thoughts on that?
Is exactly what I thought when I thought about the word tame. Like,
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect, they're talking about an animal that is unruly, that you
Mm-hmm.
and reteach to maintain. But
Mm-hmm.
also, you got to look at it in other aspects. Like when I use the lion, the tiger, you've seen so many cases where them they are not tameable. No.
Precisely.
After a while, they are going to strike back. All right.
Correct.
So tame came from the aspect back then in the 90s. Now you hear handle. I need a man that can handle me. So we bring it, we speed it up. It's still the same verbiage. It's
Yep.
still the same verbiage. And it's like, why? Like, why? Like that's the thing for me. And it's like the more they try to handle you, the more you fight back. So what are you really asking for here? Like,
All right, sorry. So when you say it like that, you're talking about the 90s, you're talking about can you handle me or put me in my place or I need
mhm,
to be checked. I think at moments when they say that, it's because they lack an aspect of discipline from their family structure. Single family household, they didn't have the structure. So they want a man to put them in a place, i.e., fighting for dominance, right? So you can have a woman that is in a situation where she's so used to running everything. So she meets a man, she wants to fight for dominance.
mm,
Now, and that's gonna sound messed up, but I had a conversation with my grandmother one time. I was like, the difference between nowadays are based on when they talked about caveman times. Back in the day, you could just boom, hit them over the head with a club and drag them into the cave, right?
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? That was dominant. I'm stronger than you. Pow! And then you drag them
yeah,
in, and then y'all just worked out because
yeah.
now the aspect of hierarchy has already been displayed through physicality.
Mm,
Nowadays, it's not based on that, it's based on more mental. Now
yeah.
I have to outsmart you. Now I have to be more witty than you. Women can play the mental game. They can break you down mentally. Oh, okay. No, well, this, and this, because men don't argue. Men have a certain level. And once it hits that level, they be like, all right, what you trying to do? If men are having a conversation, depending on where it goes, they only have a certain level where it hits, and then they fighting. And it goes to a deadly aspect. Where with
Mm,
women, they talk, 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 talk. And then you gotta outsmart them. And if you don't outsmart them, you just sitting back on the couch being like, how did I lose this argument? This is where it was, and now I'm over here and I lost the battle. Where did I go wrong in the conversation? Because two different things. Mentality and verbal warfare are women. Physical warfare is men. They don't collide. So that's why they talk about emotion versus logic and things like
mm,
that. But you make a very big important statement because shout out to the Lapeef Network, Kay and all of them were talking about if you need to handle a woman, she's a demon, right? Now it's funny because we did the video talking about Shahrazad Ali that night. If you look at the date, all you people that's watching, go look at the date. She called when we were done. She was like, I want to go more on this point. I'm like, all right, well, let's figure a date where we can click up. What, a couple days later, then boom, that
yeah.
video came out.
Yep. I was just like,
Shout out to
what?
Didi. Shout out to Didi. Made the
Yeah, she
video
do
about
it.
Shahrazad Ali. The next day I go to drop it, she got a video. So I
Yeah.
like what I'm seeing with the YouTube world is that we're starting to see the
Yeah.
alignments and where they're going. Oop, shook my whole camera. But do you have any more thoughts on the ideology of taming a woman? Because you made a very good point about you have to have yourself in order. You don't need anybody else to do it, but give some more to it.
The only thing, this is my advice, to anybody, but for the advice for the men, for women that says whether you need to tame me, you need to handle me, you need to put me in my place. These are my set rules. This is how we gonna flow.
Mm-hmm.
If she ain't flowing, she gotta go. It ain't no aspect of, you know, I have to do something physical or I have to take something away from you. You're not my kid. We are two grown adults that came into the agreement of a relationship based on these rules and regulations. This is what I want in you. This is what you want in me. Boom. If she does not meet those requirements,
Yep.
she has to go. You can't keep her. You can't tame her. You can't domesticate her. You can't make her feminine if she is not leading with femininity. she is going to have to find that herself. That's a life lesson within her that she has to be willing to dig with inside of her to figure out why is she this way? Why does she view this? Why is there so much separation? Why she's clashing with somebody that she says that she wants to be with, but you're not fighting the war together. You're fighting the war against each other.
So
That's
what? So all right, so we still got time. I'm checking it so we can make the video short enough because we can go.
yeah, we can.
And look, anybody watching this video, if you want to see us do an actual YouTube live, comment down and say please do a live video so you can see us really go. We have conversations that can go hours.
Yeah.
We talk about historical information up until today. We talk about relationship views, and trust me, we do not agree. It looks like we agree, but on the back end, we be talking. And I'm trying to get the YouTube live stuff going, but trust and believe, there's some stuff we was talking about earlier today. If you want to see this stuff really go down live without interruptions, and I ain't got to edit and all of that, let's just go boom, comment down there. But for the question I have for you, is it why do you think that women ask for the aspect of handle me, check me, put me in my place, or tame me? Why do you think they ask for that?
That is a good question. Some of the beliefs I may have would be the fact that they never had a strong male role model in their life. No mother,
Okay.
I mean, no father, no uncles, no grandfathers. If they did, they didn't succeed in that factor. Something was lacking on all aspects. Okay, and then they could have that strong role model, but then you got all these friends around you that runs with ideology of if he can't handle me like this, if he can't handle me at my worst, he doesn't need me at my best.
Got you. So
I
you
gave
think it's so what you're saying is you think that there are, they say bad association spoils useful habits. That's in the book. We ain't always talking religion, but there's certain, scriptures from the book. You ain't got to be scriptural just to know that the information is legit. So do you think if you had a strong family structure and it just went awry, so what you're saying is that the people around you can throw off the
influence.
trajectory because you might have a strong family structure. You have two grandparents, two parents, then you, but you got friends that are single family households and they're like, nah, don't listen to them, all of that. But if you're around them more than you're around your family, could that then change your ideology?
It could in some cases. I wouldn't say all cases because you have
Yeah.
a lot of, women out here that they stick to that straight and narrow. But you also have the ones where, they just don't for some odd reason. Maybe it's because they done clashed with, these people that are influential. They might have caused some trauma. Who knows what makes them veer over to what doesn't look, because it's like it does not look good over there. It all sounds good, all
Yeah.
right, in
Yeah.
that aspect. It sounds good until you get yourself in a situation where a man decides he wants to tame you and start verbally taming you, physically taming you, and then it goes left because now you're not safe. You don't feel
Yeah.
you don't feel wanted, you feel abused. That is not healthy at all for I forgot who I seen. It was one of the young ladies that God, I can't remember her name. I forgot who she was with, but she did an interview with I wish I could remember the name,
Somebody
but
well, tell us a story, and I think I might know what
okay.
you're talking about.
So she was talking in a sense of she wants a man that'll pull a gun out on her.
Oh, Ari Fletcher.
There we
I
go.
did a
Okay,
video
I
about
can't
her.
remember her name, but I'm
All right.
like,
Yep. Ari Fletcher. She's with Moneybag Yo. And
yeah,
remember, all that stuff she talked about, she went on to a live afterwards. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a lady like, yo, I've been in an abusive relationship, so on and so forth. She was like, don't nobody care what you talking about. Remember, she was part of Fenty,
Yeah, I
Rihanna's.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that in
They
Rihanna's.
removed her. They removed her. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So it's
But
like
yeah, but
with
she's from
that,
Chicago. But think about it. She's that new age from Chicago. But what she was talking about was they call it an ish test. I'm not gonna say the actual word, but
yeah,
ish test, where they're gonna push the boundaries to see what their men are willing to go to. How far are you willing to push it? She's like, yo, the dude I'm with now, he'd be like, are you a child? Like, what are you doing?
yeah,
But she's willing to push the line to see how far he's willing to go. And some of these women will push it to physicality. But if they deal with a man, it's like, what are you doing? Never mind. Then if you have a man that's like, I'm gonna love you through whatever, they abuse those men. But the guy
yeah,
that's like, man, skate off. I'm done. No, I'll be better for you. It's a
yeah.
weird cat and mouse game. And you're starting to see in this day and age, men don't want to play that cat and mouse game.
Mm-mm.
Period. They don't
No.
want to do that. They don't want to do the aspect of art. Men are not built for arguments. We are not. We may do it, but we're not built for it. Because truth be told, if you have you ever, I'm gonna ask you, YouTube world, have you actually ever seen two men actually argue? How long does it go before they start throwing hands? Unless neither of them are willing to fight or whatever. But if you see two men with no weapons involved and they're arguing, one dude's going to be like, all right, man, you made your point. We're all good. I don't even want any more problems. But the dude who's pushing and all of that, then how long does that actually go? That conversation might make 5 minutes. But men and women, when they're in a relationship, they might argue for like 2, 3, 4 hours just arguing. It's insanity. Men will be like, I'm done. Just leave me alone. And I remember one time I was arguing, I had to grab my chest. I was like, my chest hurt because I was so angry. I was like, I want to just do something to her, but I'm not going to do nothing to her. That's my woman. But my
Yeah.
chest was hurting. I was like, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? That's how real it is because there's no breaking point unless you just be like, you know what, I'm done, I'm leaving. But where you gonna go? Away from you. You know what I'm saying? I'm done. So
Yeah.
we're gonna stop the video here because we've hit the marker because I want y'all to make it to the end of the video. But please like, share, comment, and subscribe because I've said this before in my last video. YouTube has been messing with my videos. Comments get blocked, all of that. Flood the game. If you want to see more of this type of video, if you want to see a part 2, do you want to do a part 2?
Yeah, sure.
So we can do a part 2. Yo, comment part 2. Put that in the comment section and we will give you another part 2. So remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, this is all love. We coming from a place of communication. Not none of this randomness where people want to argue. We're not built on that. We're about communication. So be on the lookout for more videos. All right, everybody. Peace.